like was presenting, the idea that we have for these 16 minutes that we have is to give you a glimpse of what is it to grow your companies with some of the support that we give from Google for Startups. So I'll not jump into what the programs do or what kind of verticals are we focused. What I want to start by is introducing our panel today. We have 3 founders from 3 programs that we run across Europe. And instead of having myself presenting each one of you, which will be very, very boring, I will ask each one of you to just briefly comment on what are you guys doing in your company. So maybe you have clients in front of you right now, or prospect investors. If not, they will tell their friends. So this is the moment. Ismail, can we start with you?
Sounds good. My name is Ismail. I'm one of the co-founders at LiveLink. Our vision is to automate video editing. So if you have 1,000 unedited clips, at the click of a button, you can turn it into a wedding video, TV show, movie. And the first product we've launched is long-form video to short-form. So podcasts, talks, lectures, you can put it through our AI, and we can turn it automatically into 10 TikToks within a minute.
Cool. Carmen, can we
I'm Carmen Rios. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Doctormatic. We have an AI-powered remote patient monitoring software that's used both in clinical settings and for preventative and monitoring of chronic patients. We're based in Spain, and we operate in Spain, Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, and Ecuador, and we're hoping to launch a couple of other European territories this year.
Great, thank you so much. For the ones wondering why Lior doesn't look like Sarah in the slides, it's because, unfortunately, Sarah had a last-moment personal issue, so Lior is the new CEO of Elementer. I'll let you present the company.
Hi, I'm Lior Bell, CEO of Elementer, new CEO of Elementer, joined about 2 months ago. Elementer is a UK-based cybersecurity startup. We are utilizing AI to analyze complex threat intelligence data and make it more risk management, allowing CISOs to actually make educated decisions based on the risks that are coming their way. We are looking, by the way, to raise a fund very soon, so if you're interested.
Cool. Okay, guys, I would like to start with understanding, and I know, Lior, you joined late, you joined very recently the company, so I'll skip you on this one. But maybe starting with you, Carmen, why in the first place did you decide to apply to a Google for Startups EMEA program? What was like, what were your motivations?
I'm actually sharing this information earlier. It was our lead investor had been in touch with you guys scouting for companies. So we ran the application program and went through a technical due diligence and final interview. And, you know, that was summer last year. And we heard the news first week in August, but the press release didn't go out till September. So that was kind of tough. And I think from a technical perspective, it's given us a lot of advantage because many of the funds are run by people that don't understand technology. So they used to question that we were actually a tech company. Now they don't anymore.
Okay, interesting takeaway from the program. Ismail, you were part of the Black Founders Fund here in Europe, 2022?
2020 or 21, the first cohort.
The first cohort, okay. What was, I mean, it's a very different program for the ones who don't know. We run global acceleration programs, and I think about 4 years ago, we launched the Black Founders Fund for the first time in the US and in Europe, and it was the first program where we were actually deploying some cash, equity-free. So let's say, apart from that, what were you looking for when applying for this program?
I mean, in all honesty, there is zero downside as far as working with Google is concerned.
Sure.
The cash is in terms of the investment side of things, and then there was access to ad spend, and on top of that, access to cloud credits, which if anybody works in AI in any capacity, cloud gets very expensive very quickly. But I think one other thing, which I'm sure others can share as well, Google has been around long enough and has hired enough smart people that they're now scattered across the entire tech ecosystem. So kind of through the Google for Startups network, you're probably an email away from any organization or any VC fund that you would want to connect to. So if you happen to have that network, great. But for anybody that's in the position where they'd like to build something like that, I can't think of a better hub to connect you to the wider ecosystem than something like Google for Startups.
Cool. I'll take that last point on community and let's say a bit enough about Google for a second. Lior, I know you arrived very recently to the company, but I'm proud to say that part of what I sell at Google for Startups is the community of founders that we are building. In my case, I'm mostly focused in cybersecurity, but these folks over here are doing other industries. What is the perception and how important it is for you by running a small company who has to raise money, get new clients, and so on? What's the importance of community in general? Other founders, Google community, whatever.
Very, very important. So being a CEO of a startup can be very lonely, even if you're running with your founders. Having other people to communicate with, to share the challenges, to potentially get ideas, to share also successes is absolutely important. And of course, the networking with VCs. Just I can tell you, I met Miguel just yesterday. In the last 24 hours, the support that we got from Google for Startup is amazing.
Parties are not included on support.
Parties are
Access
also
to
included.
parties is not part of that. I have a question. You touch upon some of the resources. So I like to say that these programs are essentially community-based. Of course, you have access to credit. Sometimes you have access to money. But going back to the previous point, when you think about the startup program and not just Google, what are you looking for? Because one thing we know, you said there's no downside, but I think your time is one of the most valuable things. So there's a downside, which is the time you dedicate. If you put Google apart, what is for a founder, and because we are talking here about growing your companies with Google, but in the end, it's growing your company with whatever partners are there in the way that can support you. So the question for the two of you, starting with Ismail, what is the 2-3 things that you look when you are considering spending some time and investing your time participating in a startup program?
No, but I think we're generally quite familiar with the idea of investments compounding and money compounding. You invest early, you make more over time. One thing that I think is underspoken about, underappreciated, is networks compound. The quality of that relationship. The number of times I've heard of founders that overnight have raised tons of money, but it turns out that the partner or the founder of that fund they met 10 years ago at this program, and they built that relationship over time. So for me, probably, I know you asked for 2 or 3, but I'd probably give 1 because it's the most valuable one. The depth and quality of relationships that you can build with a network like this is something that you will find to be surprisingly valuable over time. And when I say surprising, what I mean is it's obviously quite nice to have the support from founders, but the surprising part is seeing the different paths that these people go down and seeing how it then comes back to pay off, whether it is an introduction to a customer or an investor or anything along those lines. And I've got tons of case study examples of where that's happened. Someone I met 4 or 5 years ago through the Google network led to X investment, led to this paying client, led to this opportunity. And the more of that you build early, the better the future version of you will become. So I think that's probably the most important thing.
Carmen, same question.
Learning from who's been there, done that, helping you refine your business model. Because, at scale, Google, who scales better than Google, right?
It's working fine.
And from a tech perspective, being able to access, we're an AI, that's the power of what we do is based on AI. So being able to speak to the team at DeepMind, understanding whether we were on the right path in how we were constructing our algorithms and how we were building, being able to access libraries to refine our model as well. It's an earlier stage. We've actually improved our accuracy by 15% just by learning some of the tricks that we've applied thanks to the mentoring that we've received throughout the program. And obviously, just the community and the exposure and the promotion that you get has been impressive. And I now have, we were a cohort of 30 companies. I can tell you I have, 30 new friends. We're super active still today. Some of them are in town and we support each other. So it's like, I need help with regulatory. Who can help me fix this in this specific territory? And, it's also the sharing the peer-to-peer knowledge of the challenges that you've got lying on the table.
Okay. Yeah, what you look for? I know this is your first acceleration program. So when you think more broad and at the stage where Elementa is right now, apart from your internal team, the resources you already have, what do you look for in the ecosystem? Where are you hoping that folks can help you at this stage of the business? Either an accelerator or any kind of startup community?
Again, as as a company that's now looking to launch a product, so absolutely every lesson that we can learn, every connection that we can get in order to get it to the market faster. As they said, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Time is money. Money is time also. And for a startup, again, any help that you can get, absolutely crucial to make your growth faster. And again, to potentially prevent making mistakes that others already did, if you can.
You touched on a good point, which is AI, which would be my next subsector. What a surprise talking about AI at the Startup Tech event. I just wanted to understand, because not just Gen AI, but AI in general, for each one of your businesses, what was the most significant impact that, or what was the first use case that you started to explore artificial intelligence in the most recent months, I would say, because the evolution of technology, mostly when we go to LLMs, it's quite crazy. I mean, we just announced one more, but what was the first application in your business, and what were the struggles of applying that technology?
Sure. So we first actually began building a teaching platform for content creators, and our pitch to them was, we'll make your life easier by automating your video editing. So you can come teach, you'll get the video, chop it up, and you can post it on social media. It wasn't possible to do that kind of pre the AI era, so that was our first exposure into it. But I think very quickly you start to realize how much personalization you need to put in for it to be useful, which is, how should the video start, how should it end? And I think you touched on, first use case versus the type of AI we're using right now. The first problem was, what is a good video? How long should it be? What does it sound like? But then the other aspect to it is actually how you automate the editing part. Where should the faces be? What if there's 3 faces? How do you know which one is actually speaking? And it's not just recognizing the face, it's lip movement and things like that. So the deeper you get into it, the more advanced it becomes. And this is all within the category of podcasts and talks. You go into movies and TV shows, it's a whole other layer of problem, which is, what a clip from a movie that's good is not the same as a clip from a podcast that's good. And so you have to constantly adapt and evolve based on the type of content you've got.
Coming for you.
I'm going to be a little bit controversial here.
Let's go.
When the recent launches were announced, I was like, do I need to close my business down? Are they going to eat me up? So that was,
But now
we had 24 hours because we run benchmarks on a monthly basis on the standard of state of the art and what are we doing right, what can we do better, etc. So I was like, should I be scared? Should I be worried? I'm not. We've had, thanks to the technologies that you guys build, we can deploy better products, and we're a healthcare product, so we're highly regulated. So we're a Class 1 medical device. We've got to fulfill certain ISOs 13485, 27001 that you would know, cybersecurity. So from that instance, the barrier. There's a barrier access that's quite high, and that kind of, maybe gives us a little bit of advantage, but it's scary. So,
I mean, I think it's scary for everyone as you see the evolution in the capabilities.
You're like, I've been working really hard for 3 years to be on the market, to be able to impact patients, and then all of a sudden, new tools come on the market that could actually sweep you off the table. But fortunately, in our case, regulation comes to our favor.
Okay. And I think an important point is what you mentioned. You don't have to build everything from scratch, which I think it was the same for you. But you can leverage technology in this space that can advance your business. You can be faster and compete in a faster pace. In your case, I'll give you a double question in this sense because I see the clock ticking. But I would say it's a two-sided question, which is, what are the first implementations of AI that you guys doing at Elementer? And at the same time, what you are seeing as major trends of how AI is being used in both attacking and defending sides of the cybersecurity space?
Yeah, so in the cybersecurity, there is no question about utilizing AI because the threat actors are using it, and if you don't do it, you will lose surely. More than that they are actually probably utilizing it better because they need to be successful just once to penetrate your network, while you need to be successful every time to try and block them. So from that perspective, using LLMs and AI actually allowed us to make the work of the cybersecurity teams in organizations much easier. They can be utilized better and therefore be better ready for the attacks that are coming their way, simply by utilizing threat intelligence data that is usually very complex, very expensive to do. I will say also from the startup life, by the way, utilizing AI is crucial because, you know, startup always limited with resources and with budget. So utilizing generative AI actually help us to save that. So if I want from a content creation, from, for example, within half an hour, we created a bot to our website that can actually answer questions to people that are getting in instead of having, you know, outsource the responses or having someone manually answer that. So I think it's definitely changing our life, but it's people that operate AI.
So
Let's
first
not
you get
forget that,
scared. First you get scared, then you leverage it. In the 48 seconds we have, this is just for the two of you because you went through the process. What advice would you give to someone, any founder in the audience that would like to apply to one of our programs? Ismail, quick.
Very quickly, do it. And the worst case scenario is that if you get it, great. If you don't, you've at least forced yourself to think through the structure of your business through the application form. And for what it's worth, that structure you can end up using for other programs anyway. So do it.
Carmen?
Do it and be actively involved in the community if you get in. And
That's a good point. That's
Yeah.
why I tell all my founders, which is don't leave the program like it ended forever. Just use the groups, use the channels, be connected. And we finished right on time. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure
you.
to have you here
Yeah.
at this stage.
thank you.
Thank you.